Hello students, welcome to Science and Technology Rapid Revision session. This session is for the preliminary exam 2022 conducted by Sosin classes. Now in this session we will be understanding how we should solve the prelims questions and how we should approach the preliminary questions for the year 2022 from Science and Technology. So in this session we will be discussing the questions from space technology. So let us quickly see the previous year questions and let us understand how we should approach these questions through the topics that have been discussed in the classroom. So before going to start, we'll see a quotation here given by one of the famous person. So the quotation is like, ISRO is one of the pride of our nation. So it has taught us that sky is our limit. So let us quickly see the first question. So the first question is from the year 2011. So this question is on geostationary and geosynchronous orbits. So let us see what is the question saying. As you can see here that he is asking you the satellites that are used for telecommunication relay, okay, are kept in geostationary orbit. A satellite is said to be in orbit when. So there are some options given here, 1, 2, 3, 4 options. You need to identify what is a satellite, what are the characteristics of a satellite, and what is the characteristics of an orbit when it is placed in geostationary orbit. Okay, so whenever you see such question, kindly underline the keyword, that is geostationary orbit. So you need to find out what are the characteristics of geostationary orbit. Okay, so let us see the options and identify which is the correct answer. So he is saying the first option, the orbit is basically geosynchronous. Okay, what is the meaning of this word called as geosynchronous? So in science you might have heard this word called as synchronous. Synchronous means having same properties. For example, there are two objects, that is Earth and there is another object called as satellite. So if the rotation period of the Earth is 24 hours, okay, that is 23 hours, 56 minutes, 4 seconds. And the revolution period of the satellite is also same, then they both are said to be in synchronous. So here if you can see, the orbit is basically geosynchronous. So when you send something into geostationary orbit, a satellite basically, so the satellite has the same rotation time period of the Earth, that is 24 hours, as you can see on the screen. So that means the first option must be correct. So look at the second option, the orbit is circular. So if you look at the geostationary orbit, okay, so if this is the Earth, then around the equator, this is the equator, okay, around the equator at a height of around 36,000 kilometers, okay, you have an orbit which is basically circular in shape, right. So now this circular shape is basically to tell that, okay, the orbit is basically at a same point, the satellite is at a same point constantly above a location on the Earth. So that means the second option is also correct. The orbit is circular, yes, okay, it is not elliptical, and the orbit is geosynchronous. If 1 and 2 options are correct, look at the A, B, C, D options given here. So second option is not present in the B, so you can eliminate B option. And as you can see that the first option is not given in the C, so you can eliminate C also. So as you have eliminated B and C, you can find that there are two options remaining, A or D. The answer must be either A or D. Look at this third option. The orbit lies in the plane of Earth's equator. As I told you, geostationary orbit is an orbit where a satellite is placed at a constant location above the Earth, okay, and that satellite is not going to change its position from that particular point, okay. So you are going to see that if there is the satellite that is placed here, okay, it is placed above the equator, okay, then it is called as geostationary orbit, okay. So that means third option is also correct. So 1, 2, 3 are correct. So as you can see here in both the statements, third option is present. So even if you don't evaluate the third option, you can find that third option is correct. Then look at the fourth option. The orbit is at an altitude of 22,236 kilometers. So when you see the geostationary orbit, it is a high Earth orbit. So that means based on the height, there are three orbits that have been designated. Okay, the first orbit is called as low Earth orbit. Okay, that spans from around 150 kilometers. Okay, sometimes it is taken as 200 kilometers to around 2000 kilometers. To around 2000 kilometers. This is the low Earth orbit. Now beyond low Earth orbit, we have an orbit called as middle Earth orbit. So middle Earth orbit is an orbit which basically spans from a distance of around 2000 kilometers to a distance of around 10,000 kilometers. So there are various bands here. Okay, so you can place orbit in many locations in middle Earth orbit, in middle Earth region. Then we have HEO, that is high Earth orbit, which is basically at a height of 36,000 kilometers, right? Beyond that also, one of the type of high Earth orbit is what we have, the geostationary orbit, and one of the type of geostationary orbit is geosynchronous orbit, right? So the knowledge of the space technology, the knowledge of the orbits and its types will help us in solving this question. And as you can see that it is given 22,236 kilometers, which is actually a wrong statement. So you can find that here the option must be the option must be A. Okay, so A is the correct option here. So that is how we have to solve the question. So to solve this question, we need to have certain basics from the types of orbits. So as you can see here, so these are the types of orbits. The orbits have been classified based on the height, based on the inclination, based on the place where they are rotating. Okay, for example, if you see the inclination, it is on the equator. Okay, so it's an equatorial orbit. Then you have something called as polar orbit, where it is orbiting north and south pole. Okay, then you have something called as inclined orbit. Okay, then based on the shape you have circular orbit and elliptical orbit. Okay, so then based on altitude you have low Earth orbit, middle Earth orbit and high Earth orbit, this one. Okay, and one of the type of high Earth orbit is geostationary orbit, and one of the type of geostationary orbit is geosynchronous orbit. So that is one kind of question that has been asked in the UPSC from Science and Technology. Now let us look at the second question that has been asked in the Science and Technology, and this is basically a factual question. This was asked in the year 2014. So if you look at this question, okay, there is a kind of spacecraft given on the left hand side, and there is a column that is basically talking about the purpose of that particular spacecraft. So if you see the first one, the options are like Cassini-Huygens. So Cassini-Huygens is basically a spacecraft that has been sent onto Saturn. Okay, so this was launched in the year 1997 by NASA. Then along with NASA, there was another space agency called as European Space Agency. Okay, then along with the European Space Agency, there was another agency called as Italian Space Agency. Okay, so Italian Space Agency is abbreviated as ASI. Okay, this is in Italian language. So we have Italian Space Agency. So all of these three commonly launched a spacecraft onto Saturn in the year 1997, and here he has given that orbiting Venus and transmitting data to the Earth. No, so the first option basically is wrong, because it is not onto the Venus but it is onto the Saturn. So this is very, very factual. So when we are discussing the science and technology topics, we'll be discussing some factual data also, which are basically the part of the famous space agencies, like we have ISRO, then we have NASA, so then we have European space agencies. Okay, so important missions taken up by these agencies, so we'll be looking into that. Then look at the second option, Messenger. So he's asking you, Messenger is basically to mapping and investigating Mercury, right? So Messenger was actually sent onto Mercury, and that is true, and this was actually launched by NASA. So this is actually an orbiter. So second option is correct. So if you look at the options 1, A, B, C, D, so here it is A, this is B, and this is C, and this is D. So one option is wrong, so you can easily eliminate the option A and option C and option D. So that way you can ultimately arrive to the answer, that is B, right? So that means if you know one answer or one statement, okay, which is also factual, so you can easily arrive at an answer in this kind of questions. So such simple questions have also been asked in the exam, but what I suggest you is be updated with the recent missions that have been launched by famous agencies like we have NASA, ISRO, okay. Today we have the private space agencies like we have SpaceX, right? So we have Blue Origin, right? So all of these things we'll be discussing in the classroom in the rapid revision session, okay. So this is what I wanted to tell you, and here we arrive at the answer, that is B. Now look at the third option, Voyager 1 and Voyager 2. So Voyager 1 and Voyager 2, they are actually launched by NASA in the year 1977. So what is Voyager 1 and Voyager 2? Basically these are the spacecrafts, okay, that have been designed to find out the alien life, the presence of alien life in the universe, okay, or you can say in the solar system or in the galaxy, right? So today Voyager 1 and Voyager 2 have completed almost 45 years of traveling, and they have almost traveled out of the solar system, and still they are sending the data to the Earth through radio waves, right? So that means basically Voyager 1 and Voyager 2 are to explore the outer solar system so that the NASA can find out if there is any alien life in the outer solar system or in the galaxy or further away from the Earth, okay. So 3 is also correct, so 2 is also correct, so B is the option here, that is 2 and 3, okay. So that's how you have to answer the questions in the preliminary exam, that too from the SNT, right? Now let us look at the third question. So you can see here, this is the information given by NASA itself. So Cassini-Huygens basically is onto Saturn, and this is Messenger, which is basically onto Mercury, okay. So then we have something called as Voyager 1 and Voyager 2. You can see Voyager 2 and Voyager 1 almost they have crossed the outer solar system, okay, and they have traveled beyond Pluto, okay. So and the Kuiper belt also, you can see here, this is the solar system which you see in the center, very small, and they have crossed almost the solar system, and this is Voyager 1 and Voyager 2. Both of them are sending the signals to the Earth by using the radio waves, right? So that's what we have. So this is another question that was asked in the year 2013, and in this question you can see that there are some phenomena given in the options, and you need to identify which of these phenomena are basically optical illusions, right? What is the meaning of optical illusion? Basically, which is not there and still it appears as if it is there, is what we call as optical illusion. For example, you have something called as mirage, okay. So these mirages, okay, when you travel in the hot deserts, you can find that there are water like structures, okay, even if they are not present, okay, they are going to appear to you. But why they are appearing? The reason is, if you see the light, okay, so let us say this is the light. Now light, okay, when it is traveling from rarer medium to denser medium, it is going to have a reflection, it is also going to have a refraction. But when the reflection is something like greater than the critical angle, okay, so you can find that there is something called as total internal reflection. Now in this case you can find that there is something called as optical illusion. There is a phenomena called as optical illusion. That means an object, even if it is not there, okay, it appears to be present. So what do you find here? The first option, the size of the sun at the dusk, okay. So dusk and dawn, okay, are the two phenomena, okay, that you basically see, okay, during the sunrise and the sunset, right? So size of the sun at the dusk, is it an optical illusion phenomena? No, it is not an optical illusion phenomena, right? Then color of the sun at the dawn. So basically you find that the color of the sun appears to be red, right? Now that is not the color of the sun. The original color of the sun is yellow, and that is the reason why sun is called as yellow star. It is a young star, okay, so which is still in yellow color phase, okay. It is having some kind of nuclear fusion reactions going on inside it, and that is the reason why you call it as yellow star, but it appears to be completely in red. So color of the sun during the dawn is what we see, okay, as an optical illusion phenomena. So 2 is correct here. So if you find in the B option there is no second statement, so you can eliminate that B. So further look at the other options. In all the statements you find 2. So let us go for the next option. Moon being visible at the dawn. So this is also not an optical illusion phenomena. And twinkling of the stars is a very famous phenomena where you can find that it is actually an optical illusion. Okay, so twinkling of the stars is also an optical illusion phenomena. Okay, so let us look at the question that has been asked in the year 2013. This is another question that was asked in the science and technology, but this is basically from the physics area. So let us look into this question. So here he is asking you, consider the following statements or consider the following phenomena. Okay, these are the phenomena that have been given by him, and he is asking you to identify which of the above options are optical illusions. Now what is an optical illusion? Basically, if you look into the physics, okay, so optical illusion is a phenomena where an object that is not really present is going to appear to you as if it is really present. Okay, that is basically called as an optical illusion. Why does it happen? It is because the light basically have kind of properties called as reflection, refraction and dispersion. So when you see that the light traveling from rarer medium to denser medium, the light basically takes a bend, right? So the light also reflects, right? Now if the light is that is the angle of incidence, okay, so is greater than the critical angle, right? In this phenomena what you have is something called as optical illusion. Optical illusion. And here you basically have total internal reflection, right? Now look at these options. So it's asking you which of these phenomena are optical illusions. Look at the first option, the size of the sun at the dusk. Okay, so you find that the size of the sun appears to be greater than the usual, okay, at the dusk. Now that is the reason why you find that this phenomena is part of optical illusion. Okay, so one is true. So the size of the sun is not supposed to be so large, but it appears to be so large. It is because of the optical illusion. So one is true. Then the color of the sun at the dawn. So basically the color of the sun is yellow, right? But the color of the sun appears to be red. Now this change in the color of the sun during the dawn is what we refer as an optical illusion phenomena. Okay, so you have the second option as true and first option as true. So look at the ABCD given here. So in the B option there is no second one. Okay, so you can eliminate B option. Okay, then look at the third option, D option. In D also you don't have one. So you can eliminate D, you can eliminate B, and what are the remaining? A and C. So out of A and C you need to find out whether A are correct, A is correct or C is correct. So look at the third and fourth options now. So phi has been eliminated because phi is not given in the A and C, so you can easily eliminate the fifth option. Now look at the fourth option, twinkling of the stars in the sky is basically an optical illusion phenomena. Okay, so 4 is also correct here. Okay, so you can find that 4 is there in the C option, so C is correct. So moon being visible at the dawn is not an optical illusion phenomena, so you can eliminate third option, right? So that is how you have to basically figure out the correct answer, by eliminating the wrong options. And this elimination techniques will be learnt in the classroom, okay, in the rapid revision course, okay, and that is in the Sosin classes. So I hope you will learn more of such techniques in the classroom and more of such concepts in the classroom. So by attending the GS Rapid Revision course for the preliminary exam 2022. I wish all the best, and I hope all of you join the course. For further details you need to contact the numbers given on the screen, and please visit our website, and thank you so much. Take care.